All right, shalom, shalom, brothers and sisters. This is Brother Yosef. I want to come back to you with another lesson today. This time, encouraging you to continually teach your children. Continually teach your children. All right, so before I get into today's message, if you're new to the channel, go ahead and click that subscribe button, click that bell button for notification, give that thumbs up so that this video can reach more people through the YouTube algorithm. All right, so I want to be able to talk today about the importance of us continually teaching our children. Our children are the next generation. They are a part of us. Our children are the ones that look to us, parents, for guidance, leadership. All right, they need direction. All right, some of us are making the mistakes. Quite a few of us are making the mistake of only teaching them every so often. All right, I want to go ahead and throw both of my hands up. All right, I've been guilty of, just only mainly focusing on the Sabbath day as the day to get my family together and get into the Word. Sometimes in the past, because I'm just now starting to really kind of settle down a little bit over the last, close to 10 years, I've been traveling up and down these highways, so many different states, so many different people. And, I was teaching my family here, teaching them there. Of course, I was pouring into them often, but it wasn't often enough. All right. And now, just going through this journey of building with my family, I've been able to get the revelation that it's not just about teaching them once a week, for 2 or 3 hours a week. Some of us are sending our children off to school, and the school system have them for 7 to 8 hours a day. All right. And all praise to the Most High for those of you out there that are engaged in homeschool and you're teaching the children yourself. You're instilling in them the morals, the practices, the ways of the Most High. So I'm grateful and thankful for all of you out there that have put your hands to the plow and have taken it upon yourselves to instill in your children or our children the education that they need. All right, but there are so many other of us that are out there sending our children to school every single day, and by the time they get home from school, they have been in that system for 7 to 8 hours, and if you are not teaching them the word of the Most High, you are going to be in for a rude awakening. All right, so prayerfully after this video today, you can take these wisdom scriptures along with one of the laws that we are supposed to teach our children continually, and you can be able to apply this to your life, and I'm guaranteeing you, you will see a difference. All right, I'm just telling you real quickly before I get into these scriptures, I was teaching them mainly on the Sabbath day, but now not trying to, hit a home run every night with my children, my wife, but to sit down with them, even if it's just for 30 minutes, all right, 20 to 30 minutes a day, consistently over a period of time, it makes a world of a difference, all right, than just you trying to teach them once a week. And, it's been astronomical just starting through the book of Genesis and just reading through the book with my children, my family, and being able to see astronomical results, keeping them engaged. Sometimes I've been guilty in the past of trying to make these elaborate, teachings and breakdowns, and it's just going right over their head, going right over their head, and they don't understand little to nothing of what I'm sharing. But now as I'm able to slow down and go chapter by chapter, ask them at the end of every chapter, what did you get from this? What did you get from it? And we're all coming together, and the studies, and I've even been able to be enlightened by something that one of my children said to me, and I was like, wow, I didn't even look at it like that. So that's how the Most High can even speak to our children and then even enlighten us parents on some things. All right, so we got to be humble in that fashion. So I'm going to go ahead and get into the scripture today. All right, get into a couple of scriptures on why we are supposed to diligently teach our children. All right, so let's go to Proverbs chapter 22, verse number 6. It said, train up a child in the way he shall go, and when he is old, he will not depart from it. All right, so this is one of the commandments of wisdom, is that we train up our children in the way that they're supposed to go. All right, now coming up as a youngster, all right, of course, in the church, they would say, train them up, bring them to church every Sunday, so when they get old, they won't depart from it. And they'd be the same people, as soon as they get 17, 18 years old, they are backsliding, they're out in the world, they're trying everything, they're doing all kind of things, and some of these people are never coming back to the walls of the church. All right, some people over on the awakening movement, they say, well, just teach them every Sabbath, all right, and teach them once a week. And when they get old enough, they're not going to depart from it. Well, I've been able to see these people in the congregations on how some of these individuals that's been coming Sabbath after Sabbath, they don't even appreciate the Sabbath. They don't even appreciate coming to congregate on the Sabbath. All right? So is it just talking about teaching them once a week, and that's it? And that's a stamp of approval that they will never turn away from the Most High, or they're going to come back to Him once they do turn away? Or is it a little bit more that needs to be added onto that? All right, so we need to be training up our children, continually pouring into them. All right, I'm gonna get back to this Proverbs 22, but I'm gonna go to Deuteronomy chapter 6. All right, and I'm gonna come back to this Proverbs. All right, Deuteronomy chapter 6 and verse 6. Now, this is a commandment. All right, this is a commandment given, for the children of Israel, that they were supposed to diligently teach their children. All right, so Deuteronomy chapter 6 and verse 6. And these words which I shall command thee shall be in your heart. So I'm praying that these words that I'm sharing with you today is going to instantly enter into your heart. Number 7, and thou shalt teach them. What you supposed to teach them? The laws of the Most High. And thou shalt teach them diligently unto thy children. And thou shalt talk of them when thou sittest in the house, and when thou walkest by the way, and when thou liest down, and when thou risest up. So this, when you look at Deuteronomy chapter 6, verse 7, it's telling us that we're supposed to teach our children diligently. That diligent means with care. All right? We're supposed to be carefully teaching them, consistently teaching our children. All right? It says when you should talk with them when you walk by the way, when you sittest down in your house, and when thou liest down, and when thou risest up. So that sounds like it's all around the clock. All right, the law of the Most High is lining up. The law of the Father is lining up with the law of thy mother in this wisdom scripture, is that we're supposed to train up our children. It said when we walk by the way, when we sit down at night, when we rise up, when we seeing them, we're supposed to be talking to them. Hey, what's that commandment that I told you last night? All right, what's that commandment in the first 5 books? What's that wisdom commandment? All right, in my household, we have, I give my children wisdom commandments from the Torah of wisdom, and I give them wisdom sayings from the Torah of wisdom. All right, so some of these, when you go through Proverbs, Wisdom of Solomon, Ecclesiasticus, and Ecclesiastes, you will see things that come across as commands, and you will see other ones that are wise sayings. So I will ask them at the end of our study, tell me a wisdom commandment, and they will go to one of them and they'll recite one of them. I say, tell me a wise saying, and they'll recite another one. All right, so that's how I'm in my household instilling the wisdom within my youth. Going around after we may have went through one of the scriptures in the book, as we are still making our way through the book, after we read the certain chapter that we stop on, then I will ask them to give me a wisdom commandment, a wisdom saying, and we will get a law. All right, we oftentimes do the laws as well from the first 5 books. So this is how I'm teaching my house. All right, taking them through the book, not giving these elaborate breakdowns like I used to that was going right over their head, but we going back to the basics. All right, the basics is starting at Genesis and working your way through. All right, if you feel led by the Most High to do something differently, and He's leading you on a different path, and he wants you to break up the being mundane, and He's saying, well, I want you to teach them something this way, then you got to follow that. But if you're not getting that, it would be best to just continually teach them. All right, well, we talk about giving them milk. All right, sometimes we want to feed steak down 5 and 6 year olds' mouth, 7-year-olds, 8-year-olds. I mean, I've been so many different places where people are giving these breakdowns and their children are falling asleep. They're not keeping their children engaged into the study, into the lesson. All right, they're going way over their head. We have to sit down, and the book of James talking about we give bits to the horse's mouth. We're supposed to be giving them small chunks, little bits of milk, so that they can digest it. All right, let's continue though. So we talked about that in Deuteronomy chapter 6. I'm gonna go one more time. It's talking about when you walk by the way, when you lie down at night, when you rise up. So when you go back to Proverbs chapter 22 and 6, it talks about training your child up in the way, and when he's old, he will not depart. This is talking about continually teaching your children the ways of the Most High. Continually teaching your children about their history and their heritage. Continually giving your children information about how to be financially literate. Yes, financial literacy is in the Bible. All right, we need to diligently be teaching our children not to just be signing up to get into debt and getting $60,000, $70,000, $80,000 in debt in the hole. Train up your child and how to respect their elders. All right, in this generation, individuals do not respect those that have come before them. I go to congregations, what they do when it's time to serve the food, they serve the children first before they serve the individuals that's 60 and 70 years old. It's totally backwards. And I see some of the stuff and it affects me. I'm like, man, these people just don't get it. All right, we should honor. We need to teach our children how to respect the elderly. And there's so many more things. We need to teach them about communication skills. We talked about that, about the controlling your tongue, about how we interrupt individuals in the midst of their talk. Our children need to know that they're not supposed to use many words in the multitude of elders. We got to teach our children in so many different ways about how to be diligent concerning their work, how to control their anger, all right, how to be givers. All right, we have to teach our children how to honor the Most High with the first fruits of our substance. We have to teach them how to, keep His commandments in the Torah of wisdom and the first 5 books. We have to teach our children the fear and the reverence of the Most High, and it goes on and on and on and on. All right, so these are just some of the things. I know as you listen to this, there are more things that's coming on to your mind on things that we should be teaching our children about. Teaching them how to love one another. This is what the laws are all about. Loving the Most High, loving our brother. We need to teach them what does that look like? All right, some individuals, they're spending so much time, taking their children out, and they're so invested in them trying to make it to, the NFL or the baseball league or the NBA, and they're not even sharing scriptures with their children. Don't even know that they're on the path of selling out their children. All right, this is what's most important, is that we feed them the word of the Most High. This is how you teach them. So when they get old enough, they won't depart from it. Not just bringing them to Sunday once a week. Not just bringing them to the Sabbath service once a week. This thing needs to be every single day pouring into your children. You may not have an hour a day to pour into them because you're so busy. I understand that we are busy. We own businesses, we're working jobs, 8 to 10 hours a day. You only got so many hours of sleep. I get it, I understand that. But you can take out 15 to 20 minutes a day. You can take out 30 minutes a day. 30 minutes a day times 6 days a week. You done pour 3 hours a week into your children outside of the Sabbath day. You'll pour 3 hours of the Most High's word and His instructions, financial literacy, communication skills, how to love your neighbor as yourself, and so many other principles. You have poured 3 hours of that into them every single week, instead of you waiting one day out the week and only giving them an hour lesson, and that's it. They going back to the manner of people that they are once that Sabbath lesson is over with. This is how you combat the enemy, because the enemies are teaching our children every single day through TikTok, through Instagram, through YouTube, through Facebook, through the public school system. Some people say the public food system. They're constantly teaching our children. What are you and I doing to our children? Are we going to continue to keep letting this going on without us pouring into our children. So I want to command you, especially you men out there that have been absent from the household, that have not been taking your role as the priest of your home. I want to pray that you take your rightful role and start pouring into your children. If you can't see your children as much, I pray. My prayer is that the Most High opens up doors for you to be able to get custody, so that you can be able to have a joint custody or something, so that you can pour the Torah of wisdom into your children and the law of thy father within the first 5 books. And I pray that you continually be what you need to be for them, because the children need their fathers. The scripture said the glory or the esteem of children are their fathers. Not to take nothing away from the mother, because we know the mother brings the nurturing side, the caring side, the loving side, the compassionate side. All right, that is needed. You can't raise the children just with one of them. You're not just going to raise them with the mother. You're not just going to raise them with the father. So I understand some people are in harsh situations and where they don't feel like they can teach their children all the time. But when you get them into your care, when you get them into your custody, when they get into your car, you should be pouring into them the fundamental laws of wisdom. Teach your children. All right, so this is what's going to keep them strong. When it say train up a child, when he's old, he won't depart from it. This is what's going to keep them in their mind when they feel like turning on the Most High. Yes, we all are going to make mistakes. You're going to continually make slips and falls here and there. All right, but if they do make mistakes, the scripture said a just man falls 7 times to get back up again. If this person falls down, they're going to have so much wisdom, so much understanding, so much of the law inside of their mind. If you taught them how to receive the spirit of the Most High, Luke chapter 11 and verse 13, just ask for it. Psalms 51:17, with a broken and a contrite heart. If you teach them how to ask for the spirit of the Most High, then they will keep serving the Most High in spirit and the truth. And if you teach your children why they are even keeping these feast days, why they're keeping these laws and commandments, why are they want to hearken to the Torah of wisdom, if you teach them why, then they're going to be more inclined to not depart. If you just tell them what to do and they don't have no reason behind it, then they are more prone to rebel. Train up a child in the way, and when they're old, they won't depart from it. All right, let's continue. Let's go to Ecclesiasticus chapter 30. I normally don't spend that much time on one scripture like I just did, but I guess something inside of me just needed me to drive that home. All right, to you parents out there that's taking a look at this. Ecclesiasticus chapter 30 and verse 3. He that teacheth his son grieveth the enemy, and before his friends he shall rejoice of him. The scripture says in verse 3, Ecclesiasticus chapter 30 verse 3, he that teacheth his son grieveth the enemy. You think the adversary is glad that you're in here pouring into your children? You think the devil, Hasatan, the evil one, the dragon, you think that he's okay, he's glad that you are teaching your son? No, the scripture says, he that teacheth his son, he grieveth the enemy. He makes him upset. They are angry. All right? So after you teach your children, after you teach them the fundamental laws of wisdom, the commandments of the Most High, the milk, the basic fundamentals of baptism, when it talks about in Hebrews, going on to to perfection and things. Once you start continually teaching them more and more and more, the enemy is going to be at your throat. Some of you probably are not feeling the effects of the enemy because you're not teaching your children as much. And why did the enemy have to really put a major attack on someone if he already has that person where he needs him to be at? He that teacheth his son or his daughter, they grieve the enemy. All right? He said, and before his friends, he will rejoice of him. Verse number 8, an horse not broken becometh headstrong, and a child left to himself will be willful. So while you out here, allowing your children to have all this free time to get on the iPad, to get on the computer, get on your phone, downloading these apps, doing all these other things. The scripture says a child left to himself will be willful. So some of us, we have left the children to themselves, and we just sit back and let the TV, teach them and instruct them. And they're getting filled with sorcery and cartoons and magic and all these type of things happening to them, instead of us pulling them to the side and teaching them the word of the Most High, having conversations with them, all right? Showing them that we really care about them. Some of the men, all right, they walk right past their children like they don't mean nothing to them. Some of these men are not showing no love and showing no affection to their children. All right, some of these women are just going by and just treating their children as if they shouldn't be there. All right, it's error on both sides. Your children are valuable. All right, you are the priest unto them. You are their leader. All right, what does that look like when you come home every day and you don't even hug your children? You don't kiss them on the cheek. You don't show them no affection at all. You just, feel like just because you're the one making the money that you don't have to do anything else. That is error. All right, if you're out there and you're doing that, I'm telling you, you're going to have to answer to the Most High before that. Your children are going to grow up and they're going to be resentful. I hate you if you just going by every single day and not paying them no attention. Going by every single day and not spending time, getting them all together and teaching them at the same time. Taking them one by one, because sometimes they need to be taught as a group, and then sometimes you need to take them individually, one by one, to a different part of the house. One by one, take one of them to the store with you and talk to a one-on-one, because children need one-on-one time. Especially if you got girls, you got daughters, they need one-on-one time with their father. Even the sons, growing up being young men, they need that one-on-one time with their father. These daughters need one-on-one time with their mother. But are you doing that? Are you giving them are you giving your children the time that they need? Or are you just looking at them and just saying, I just can't wait till y'all get 18 years old so y'all can get out of my house, so y'all can stop drinking up my milk and drinking up my drinks in the cooler, or I'll stop eating up my food. I can't wait till y'all get out of here. Are you treating them just like that? Or are your children a liability to you? Let's continue. All right. Verse number 11, the same chapter, Ecclesiastes chapter 30. Give him no liberty in his youth, and wink not at his follies. This is what we need to be doing. The scripture says, give him no liberty in his youth. In his youth, he's not supposed to have a bunch of freedom. Our children are not supposed to have a lot of freedom. All right, I know that's news to some of you out there. All right, they're not supposed to be free to do whatever they want to. Some of you don't even know where your children are at right now. Give them not freedom in their youth. All right, and wink not at his folly. So we are, according to Deuteronomy chapter 6, we're supposed to be diligently teaching our children when we walk by the way, when we sit down at night, when we rise up, when we put our children down for night, especially if you have little ones. All right, instead of giving them a bedtime story, give them some scriptures from the word of the Most High. Give them some parables of wisdom. All right, give them something to go to bed with on their mind, so that when they go to sleep, they're not thinking about all the things that's out here in this world. All right, that's how we can allow our children to meditate on his word day and night. And then they will make their way prosperous and have good success. All right, verse number 13, chasten thy son and hold him to labor, lest his lewd behavior become an offense unto thee. So if you do not chasten your son or your daughter, if you don't give them the correction according to the Torah of wisdom, according to the laws in the first 5 books, all right, if you don't give them correction spiritually, or if you don't give them correction physically, because it talks about that the rod and reproof give wisdom. That's another way that we have to teach our children, sometimes by even giving them a little bit of punishment. All right. That lewd behavior will become an offense to you. So now they go out and they see you or your children in public, and they see the way that they're acting, and all it is just a reflection on you. Your children are a reflection on you. Let's go ahead and get that in the scripture real quick before I get ready to close. Ecclesiastes chapter 11, verse 28. Judge none blessed or Baruch before his death, for a man shall be known in his children. You see it right there? A man shall be known in his children. So whether you are paying attention to this or not, people They know you by how your children act. All right? Don't call no one. According to the wisdom books, you don't have to judge nobody by being blessed because they have a nice house. They have a nice car. They have a PhD. They have a master's. Don't judge them blessed by that. Judge them blessed according to how their children are acting. Individuals can have all the accolades in the world and their children are not serving the Most High. What profit a man if he gain the whole world and lose his family? I'm just saying. So, normally you probably don't hear me talk with this much passion. I guess, something just came over me to be able to share this message to you the way that I'm sharing it. All right, we have to fight for our children. All right, I was just out just some weeks ago. I was out there with my books, some people would support me at this event I was at. Then someone came up to me out the blue and he said, man, you need to go talk to the young people. And I'm thinking in my mind, okay, I am an author, but I ain't really thought about hitting the young people like that. You know what I mean? Knowing that I need to, but I ain't really thought about it. Then the same, but then probably 15, 20 minutes later, an elder man came and gave me his business card, and he said, I don't want one of your books, but would you mind speaking to young men? And I said, oh man, okay, this is two people at the same time. And then like 2 days later, someone else was talking to me, and they was talking about how 90,000 of our children every year commit suicide. I'm saying, man, whoa, it's the third confirmation. Then someone else said, talking to me about doing what I love to do. And I love speaking. All right. And he was talking about, I guess it came back around about the young people. So what I did, I took that information. I took 3 or 4 different confirmations, went out into the world. All right. And I went to a high school. And the very first high school I went to, all right, they called me back a couple of days later, or they set up for me to come a few days later, and I spoke to freshmen, 9th graders, and I was sharing with them about the principles of wisdom. So all praise to the Most High. He allowed me, being an author, to use that to be able to now get into the school system. Up until this point, I've been teaching adults. I've been sharing information. I've been, preaching, teaching, doing music, doing all kind of ways, ministering to adults. All right, but now the Most High has opened up doors for me to get into the public school system to share wisdom with the children. All right, and I'm taking this very serious. And I pray that you, all right, whatever you could do to reach the children in your own way, I pray that you diligently teach the children. All right, teach the ones in your household first. I understand that. Our family is our first ministry. I had to come to find out that myself. But outside of that, we can't just be selfish with our families. There are other individuals out here that need the word of the Most High, that are young people walking with their pants sagging, getting pregnant at 13 and 14, and we have to diligently teach them as well. All right, smoking, getting drugs and vapes, and doing all kind of things, bringing guns to school. All right, we have to help make a difference in the lives of our children. So with that said, I pray the Most High be with each and every single one of you. Until the next time we meet again, I say, shalom.